Welcome to 100 Yards of Football. Today I got a history video about the greatest player, in my opinion, pound for pound in the National Football League football history. His name is Jerry Rice, by way of Mississippi Valley State, by way of the San Francisco 49ers. If you like the video today, please come in and share it. I surely appreciate it here at 100 Yards Football. I'm your host, Vincent Turner, and I'd like to give special thanks to my producer, my man that's making it happen today behind the scenes, Mr. Jeremiah Daniel Long. Well, it's a great day, man. Football playoffs are finna start. Cowboys, Buccaneers, the Bills, the Bengals. It's that time. Then next month in February, we're going to have the Super Bowl out there in Scottsdale, Arizona, suburb of Phoenix. Then you think about what has been going on in college football, because tonight we're going to have the national championship game, TCU and Georgia. But you think about Jerry Rice and you think about the SWAC. And you think about what's been going on with Deion Sanders and the great years he did at Jackson State and moving on to Colorado. Football at another level has really been brought to a level of respect from a SWAC standpoint. But I'm going to get into my video today. And if you notice, I think 2 weeks ago or maybe last week, there was two gentlemen on another show that really got into it. The initials SS and SB. And the SB gentleman stated that Tom Brady was the GOAT, the best football player that ever played in the National Football League. And I'm not taking nothing from that. Tom Brady's won 7 world championships. He got 7 rings. But I thought about this in my mind. SB called him the GOAT. But in my mind, he might be the GOAT from the quarterback position. Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback. But in my opinion, the greatest football player, pound for pound, in my 62 years has played this game, is the young man on the screen right there, Jerry Rice. It's not even close. Now, I got opinions from other, I want to say, concerned fans. Some people say Jim Brown. Some people say Barry Sanders. He threw Emmitt Smith in there, but mostly Jim Brown. And, of course, Tom Brady. But pound for pound, there's no way Tom Brady's going to measure up to Jerry Rice. I'm sorry. And I say this because Jerry Rice played the wide receiver position. So that meant he had to have some good quarterbacks throwing him the football. He didn't touch the ball every play. Tom Brady has. Jim Brown played in the backfield. It's easy to turn around and hand the ball off to a running back. But a receiver, you got to run routes. You got to be on your game. And when you look at Jerry Rice, and I went back and I studied and I looked at his film, it's no question about it. This guy has been the best football player. And you think about all the receivers that they were over the years, going back from Lance Alworth, Lynn Swann, John Jefferson, Marvin Harrison, Terrell Owens, Randy Moss, Calvin Johnson, even when Antonio Brown had his head on right. You would get kind of a feel and spirit that all these guys are better than Jerry Rice. Maybe from a physical standpoint, I don't know. But when I look at a receiver now, 1,549 receptions, 22,895 yards, 197 touchdown receptions, 208 total touchdowns, a 3-time Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP. That's hard to not say this guy, pound for pound, is the best football player that you ever seen and played in this game. And then I think about Jerry Rice's history. People know I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, and I love the city, the 901. But my parents, Inez and Chester Turner, from the great state of Mississippi. And I always tell you, on this show is something in the water in the state of Mississippi. Even though the history might have some bad, I want to say cloudy racial issues over the history of that state. But just think about all the great individuals that came out of there. Red Barber, one of the best baseball announcers. Jimmy Buffett, Bo Diddley, I hate to say it, William Faulkner, Faith Hill, B.B. King, Charlie Pride, one of the greatest actors ever, James Earl Jones, followed up with Morgan Freeman, Peyton, Archie Manning, Peyton's father, Lance Howard, Brent Favre. Some consider the greatest entertainer, Elvis Presley. They used to have people falling out. Woman Phaeton, Shepard Smith, Fox, Robin Roberts, Steve McNair, Dimitri Young, Purvis Short, Medgar Evers. And this young man right here, Walter Payton. And the thing about Jerry Rice, he came out of Crawford, Mississippi. Population 600. He went to Mississippi Valley, but right now only has maybe 2,000 people in the town and on the college. But the gentleman work habits, outstanding. At a young age, 12, 13 years old, between 12 and he was chopping wood, bricklaying. And he just produced this. And then when he came in the league in 1985, I remember everybody saying Bill Walsh was crazy. Because he's taking a guy out of Mississippi Valley that he didn't really have film on. But what make great people, I seen, is their work ethic. And Jerry Rice, make no bones about it, he outworked every receiver that I announced on the list. You don't get to catch 197 touchdowns in your career. And then think about his skill set, the mindset, commitment to the game, his willingness to work harder than anyone, the sacrifices he made. After, I think, one of his Super Bowl wins, or maybe after every Super Bowl win, 2 weeks, comments from his teammate, Steve Young. Jerry Rice was out there working on the next season. See, that's commitment. That's commitment. And then look how he played the game. Ran routes better than anybody. His hands were better than anybody. The speed, the change of direction. Did dodge. A receiver with so many motions. Stretches well for the ball. Pluck the ball out of the air with ease with them big gloves. All that skill set, A+. But I'm going to tell you a true story about Jerry Rice. One of my best friends that I grew up around the corner from me, by the name of Lawrence King. He passed last year, had colon cancer. One of the best friends and best individuals I knew. He was a headache at sometimes. But he played at our high school, Southside High School, went on and got a scholarship to I hope I don't butcher, let me back up, Alcorn State. Please don't be upset at me, people down at that great university. Lawrence didn't last long. He only played 1 year. Couldn't really cut the mustard because down there in the SWAC at that time, you had Ronell Young, you had Albert Lewis, you had those type of corners, Mark Harper. All those guys down there played in the NFL. So down there, schools like Valley, Alcorn, Tennessee State, Grambling, Alabama State, Alabama A&M, they played man-to-man. There wasn't no cover two back then. You had to have some skills. But getting back to Lawrence, I had graduated from college, was spending a year in 1982, going to the University of Memphis, which is now Memphis State, working on my teaching degree, which I didn't end up becoming a teacher. But he told me, he said, Vince, Tennessee State is going to be playing in November, which I do. They play a home game every year in Memphis, the great school up there in Nashville on Hale Street. And that Tennessee State team in 1982 ended up winning the Black National Championship. Richard Dent, NFL. Brian Ramson, NFL. Ronald Holland, NFL. Larry Killebrew, NFL. Steve Moore, NFL. Mike Jones, NFL. Golden Tate Sr., his son is Golden Tate Jr. We know all about him and his successful NFL career. Walter Tate, Golden Tate's brother. That Tennessee State team was loaded. And they was playing Valley on November 13th, I believe, 1982. But what Lawrence told me, he said, man, this is a skinny young man on that Valley squad. I guarantee you he's going to be the next great receiver coming out of the SWAC. This is November 13th, 1982 now. I'm 22 years old. And I'm looking at him like, and he said, man, I'm going to tell you, this guy has got the same potential as Otis Taylor, Prairie View, Charlie Joyner, Grambling, Harold Jackson, Jackson State, Gloucester Richardson, Jackson State, who was his receiver coach in Mississippi Valley, Harold Carmichael, Southern, Sammy White, Grambling, Trumaine Johnson, Grambling. See, I was a big Trumaine Johnson fan. And my friend Lawrence King told me, Vincent, this gentleman is going to be a better receiver than Trumaine Johnson. And I said, come on, man. So we went to the game out there. Tennessee State ended up winning the game. But I came away impressed. And I say, you know what? The rest of my life, I'm going to remember this young man. And Jerry Rice might have not been about 6'2", maybe about 185 at the time. He wasn't the big guy when he got in the NFL over 205. And I looked at him and I said, man, I couldn't believe what I was seeing on the field. He ended up having 13 receptions for 279 yards. I said, whoa. And we know the rest, what he did with Starlight Express and Archie Cooley and Willie Totten down there in Mississippi Valley. But greatness is defined by how did you do against the best? And if you look at Jerry Rice and you look at what he done over the years and his ability to play this game, you always go how he played against the best. And Deion Sanders, I had what he did against Deion Sanders in front of me, but I know this. Let me get it. Now I got my notes. He played Deion Sanders in 10 meetings, 6 receptions over 1,000 yards, 11 touchdowns. That's against Deion Sanders at the time, who was considered the best. And I don't have to say no more what he did against other receivers and not other receivers, but other top corners in the game. And I go back, another form of why I'm saying he's the best pound-for-pound football player. I go back to the 1986 season of the San Francisco 49ers. That year, he played with 3 quarterbacks. 3. He ended up with 1,570 yards, 15 touchdowns. And what he did that season in 86, he made other players better. Where the late, great Dwight Clark, Clemson University, Roger Craig out of Nebraska, and Russ Francis, outstanding tight end out of Oregon University, go Ducks. All of them had over 500 yards receiving that year. Then I think about that Monday night game he had in the 86 season against Darrell Green, a gentleman from my hometown, Bear Wilburn, Orange Mound, Melrose High School, Ole Miss. Monday night game. Darrell Green considered at the time the fastest individual in the game. And he let them up for 12 receptions, 204 yards. Then his Super Bowl MVP of performance against the Cincinnati Bengals in Miami in the Super Bowl for the Niners. And then looking at that time, back in 1986, he took no backseat to the greatest players at that time in the league: Kurt Warner, Erie Dickerson, Dan Marino, Joe Morris, Lawrence Taylor, and Joe Montana. Pound for pound. There's no question about it. I don't want to hear nobody. I'm going to go like the great Daniel Kelly, the scout, my man, who's doing it high this year with the 2023 NFL draft. As Daniel Kelly says, I make no bones. I stand very stern to my point. And Jerry Rice, to me, is the best football player pound for pound that ever played in the National Football League. Think about it. 22,895 yards. I think the next closest guy, maybe T.O., I don't have the stats in front of me, what, at 15,000? And 197 touchdowns. Catching the football. 208 total. Think about the game. When a quarterback is the most important player, he's touching the ball every play. This man didn't even touch the ball. He had to wait for somebody to get it to him. In that 86 season, like I say, he averaged 18 yards a catch and had 6 100-yard games with 3 different quarterbacks. If you're talking about a guy that God brought into this world to play this game at a high level, there's no question about it. Jerry Rice is at the top of the list. And what I'm proud about, don't get mad. Number one, he's a Phi Beta Sigma. I'm a Phi Beta Sigma. No jealousy this morning. Number two, he's from the great state of Mississippi. If people really know the history of Mississippi, go back and look at the challenges those folks had. Back in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s. And he came out of that state. Little town of Crawford, Mississippi, Lyons County. And he went to Mississippi Valley State. And you think about the resources there. I could tell you back from 81 to 84 when he played, the field was in no good shape. Limited resources. And look what he did there in college football. And while I'm talking about that situation, I hope one day when we talk about college football and they play in the national championship game tonight, I hope somebody, I'm going to have the kahunas to say this. Everybody talk about the spread offense, and they talk about Mouse Davis and Lavelle Edwards, even now Lincoln Riley, even now the spread RPO concepts in the National Football League. Jerry Rice, coach, I hope one day somebody at the 4-letter network, at Fox, at CBS, get a man his flowers, and his name is Archie Cooley. He the one that really started all this. Go back and check the archives. And he coached the best player that's ever played this game in the National Football League, pound for pound. So, SB, you can sit up there and talk about Tom Brady, and great, no problem. Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback that's ever played the game in the National Football League. And we could talk about the greatest college football players of all time, the greatest coaches, from Woody Hayes, even Eddie Robertson and John Merritt. What's my boy, Bear Bryant? Even now, Nick Saban, Kirby Smart. But make no bones, man. Please give respect to Archie Cooley. Please. And please give respect to this man being pound for pound the best player that ever played the game. You still don't give Jerry Rice enough credit. But what I like about Jerry Rice, He's a man of the Phi Beta Sigma. He's a person, you don't see Jerry Rice really out in the public. You don't see him grandstanding. He just put it out on the field and put the resume there. And I know a lot of people like Jim Brown is being the greatest player that ever played in the game. Make no bones. The young man on the front of the screen right there is the best that ever played the game pound for pound. And I put my life on it. You feeling me? I will put my life on it. I have the resume. And I had a person told me, my cousin down in Naples, Florida, I'm going to put you on blast. He said that Jerry Rice couldn't play in this era. Well, I look at it like this. They said that when he came in the league in 1985, they said that in the league when he was playing against all these other guys, all these other receivers at the time, the Lynn Swans, the Lance Allworths, the John Jeffersons, the Marvin Harrisons, but they still don't give Jerry Rice his flowers. He is by far, one more time, the greatest receiver that played in the National Football League, but pound for pound, the greatest football player ever. 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 So my final words about Jerry Rice. I thought about a lot of things, and I thought about this. I said, how can I pay homage to Jerry Rice today? It's only one way. Say it loud. I'm very proud to be from the state of Mississippi. Say it loud. I'm very proud to be from the state of Mississippi. Say it loud. I'm black and out proud. Jerry Rice, baby. If you like the video today, please come in and share it. I'm Vincent Turner, 100 Yards Football. Special thanks to the people that's made it happen. First, to the greatest producer in the world, Mr. Jeremiah Daniel Long. To my people, Mr. Bobby Butler, Ronnie Keebler, Mark Bass, Logan Landers. Thank you. And Mr. Kevin Jones. M to the hometown, 901, Memphis, Tennessee, baby. Inez Turner, Chester Turner, Opie Turner, Erica Woodruff, Ronnie Foster Jr., Trey Sims, Chaz Woodruff, and of course to my daughter Ashley Turner in Nashville, Tennessee, Rhonda Turner, Stephanie, Bridget, my sisters. I'm very thankful, very honored. And thank you to the podcasters that follow us and allow us to be on the network, Spotify, Believe, and Apple. We appreciate you here at 100 Yards Football. All I can say is this. Jerry Rice, say it loud. I'm proud to be from the state of Mississippi. Y'all be blessed here on 100 Yards Football. Have an outstanding day.